if you haven't already, do me a favor, like, subscribe to the channel. You might even learn some stuff, right? I kind of learned some stuff researching this story, and maybe you learn some more stuff too if you subscribe to Citizen Pete. So a few weeks ago, Trump surprised everyone. Democrats, Republicans, and even members of his own administration. We got on Twitter and demanded that Congress increase the direct payments to Americans from $600 to $2,000.
The $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments, and not enough money is given to small businesses.
Which was great. I mean, I totally agree with him there. The only thing is, that would have been, much better to do that a couple months ago. But hey, better late than never, right? So, the thing about this is that, Democrats have been asking for more. And despite what Trump says now, the president waited too late to do anything, and that's why it didn't happen, right? Democrats have been fighting for more stimulus checks and for months now. And people in his own administration, fought to keep that number lower. And unfortunately, our government is so messed up that even with the president, majority of the House, and majority of the Senate want something to happen, it still doesn't. Because of that guy right there, Mitch McConnell. But one of the other things Trump demanded is that we reduce the amount of foreign aid, and that really set conservatives off.
This bill contains $85.5 million for assistance to Cambodia, $134 million to Burma, $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military, which will go out and buy almost exclusively Russian military equipment, $25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan, $505 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama.
It has a lot of numbers there, and honestly, a lot of bullshit. So here's the thing: a lot of those numbers, it all sounds bad that we're giving away all this money when we're fighting this pandemic and businesses are closing down, and people can't get enough help from the government. But is it really that simple? Do conservatives really understand foreign aid? And that brings me to my question here: is what is foreign aid, right? I mean, it sounds very simple to understand, but there's a lot to it that honestly even I didn't know. So first of all, none of the money from the COVID stimulus is going to foreign countries. None of it, right? All that stuff Trump mentioned, and he keep going on and on about and all this and that, none of that is in the COVID bill. Not a damn thing, right? What he's talking about is the annual federal budget. So here's what happened. These are two separate bills. What happened is that they were kind of running out of time to pass the federal budget, and so they just kind of added the stimulus bill to that and voted on it all at once. So that's why he's talking about, they're all voting on this with the COVID bill, but they're two separate things, right? The second thing out there, a lot of people don't understand about foreign aid is they think it's a big part of the budget, right? According to a couple of polls I saw out there, some Americans think it's like foreign aid is like 25% of the U.S. budget, which is crazy. That's a lot of money. But in actuality, it's really closer to just 1%. So here is a look from the Congressional Budget Office, right? And it's looking at the 2019 federal budget, because let's be honest, 2020, was a little off for everyone, especially the budget there, right? That's I haven't looked at those numbers yet, but those are going to be crazy. Now, as you can see here, the budget for 2019 was $4.4 trillion, or in other words, 2,750 Jeff Bezos. That guy's got a lot of money, all right? So that's what the federal budget, that's what the government spent in 2019. Well, here's what we spent on foreign aid, right? This comes from the USAID, right? And in 2019, we spent a total of, wait for it, $39 billion on foreign aid in 2019. Okay, so let's get that. You got 4.4 trillion versus 49 billion. All right, that's a big discrepancy there. And don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of money. But a lot of folks claiming, and there's a lot of folks claiming that we shouldn't be giving foreign aid to foreign governments at all. But don't worry, we actually aren't. That's a very common misconception out there. Only about a fifth of U.S. economic assistance actually goes to governments. In 2018, this article from the, I believe it's the Brookings Institute, found that 21% of U.S. official development assistance goes to governments. Only 21%. 20% goes to nonprofit organizations, 34% to multilateral organizations, and 25% elsewhere. And it's also important to note about foreign aid is that even though we call it aid and it's funding that they're getting, but really it's not just straight cash money, a lot of times it's stuff like medicine, food, stuff like that. Stuff that we attach a monetary value to it, but it's not necessarily like they're just getting cash money here. And the big question you're probably having is, is all this foreign aid worth it, right? Well, if you care about other people and if you care about Americans, then the answer is absolutely yes. Also, the answer is ultimately yes. So extreme poverty has fallen by dramatically since we've been doing this over the past 30 years, from 1.9 billion of people living in poverty, which was 36% of the world's population in 1990, to about 8% in 2019. Maternal, infant, and child mortality rates have also been cut in half. Life expectancy globally rose from 65 years in 1990 to 72 in 2017. Smallpox has also been defeated, along with polio, and deaths from malaria have been cut in half. We've also helped save 17 lives from HIV and AIDS and enabled 2.4 million babies to be born HIV free. That's a lot of good. And that's a big thing for all you pro-life folks out there, right? We're helping to save lives. Now, as I rattled off all those numbers, it's also important to realize that the better the world is, the better the United States is. Now, wars are mostly fought over resources and instability. So if we want to make sure we avoid another World War III, helping out with all this foreign aid is a real big component with that. Also, I know a lot of folks out there, especially a lot of conservative folks out there, don't like immigrants coming to America, right? And personally, I think immigrants are great. I think and studies show that they really help boost the local economy, but fine. We'll talk about immigration. Well, immigrants are much less likely to come to the United States if they aren't starving in their own countries. Take Syria, for example, right? The country descended into civil war, and refugees sought refuge in Europe. And all of a sudden, you had a migrant crisis. So if you're anti-immigrant, which again, I am not, you should keep that in mind. So the next time someone goes off on foreign aid, remind them that it's actually money well spent. It's helping to create a better world, which doesn't just help folks that outside of the United States, it also helps folks in the United States. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click that little subscribe button, maybe the like button, and hey, maybe just leave a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. What do you think about all the politics and news and all the stuff that's going on in our country?